Oh my gosh, where we at? Counsel of the day with Shanrae. And welcome to Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. I am Shanrae. Good evening, Tay. Good evening, Kiara. Good evening, Simmons. Good evening, my Instagram family. Good evening, my Facebook family. Good evening, my YouTube family. So glad to see you tonight. We're on week 3, part 2. We've been talking about change all month long. This is a 30-minute segment, so we're going to move really quickly. This is an open forum. If you have any questions, I will stop, pause, and answer your questions for you. If you want to share any life scenarios, I will stop and pause, and I will share those as well with you. All right, so let me start with my website disclaimer because, like I said, this 30 minutes come and go very quickly. All right. So please be aware that due to the nature of the technology that I am using, that there is no assurance of confidentiality when using this online service. It should also be noted that due to changes in all policies, that all replies are to be used as advisory and informational only, and it will not constitute an official determination. Information that's provided by myself are subject to limitations of current and available material, but the final responsibility rests with you, the individual. Information online is designed to be helpful. However, this information does change frequently, and it is recommended that you consult another physician, another specialist, and or a religious leader to aid you in your overall behavioral wellness. Lady Edgar, so good to see you. All right, so I acquired my degrees. I'm not going to go over my bio from Ashford University in counseling and organizational management. I am a Christian counselor, and so the scripture that I chose to use for the entire year is from, hey, good evening, Gaga, over there in Facebook land, my Facebook family. The scripture for this year is Deuteronomy 31:6, the NIV version, and it says to be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you, nor will he forsake you. All right, so let's move this on. I want to get to the key points. I'm going to open them up a little bit, and then we're going to go back. I enjoyed y'all so much last night. This is part 2. We've been talking about change is difficult last night, but change is tough, but so are you. That was last night what we talked about. Tonight is the curveballs of change in our lives and how we're going to overcome those. But I call her Gaga, but her name is Miss Anita. She left us last night with a nice slogan, and I think that this is awesome. And she says, change, move on up, change, move on up. And I'm telling you, y'all should make that, you put it on something, change, move on up, because people change, but some people change for the negative or for the worse, but we are changing for the better. Okay, so our key points for tonight, let me open it and I'm gonna close it back. Our key points for tonight are personal perspective, how to navigate the winding path of change. Number 2, change can be minor and achievable or major and quite impactful. All right. Number 3, let's think about the ways most of us react to change in our lives. Let's think about how you react to change. Number 4, how can one not only survive change, but thrive through it as well? And number 5, change requires that we learn to tolerate uncertainty and unknowns. All right. So change, it is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. It is, excuse me, I'm checking. I'm on different entities. So I'm checking my different entities to see if someone is saying something. So give me a minute, guys, and then I'm going to jump right back into it. I hope that everybody had an awesome day today. And we, like I said, we're going to, hold on. We're going to move this along. Okay. All right. So let's start. And this is called the curveballs of change in our lives. All right. The curveball of change in our lives. And it talks about the personal perspective, how best to navigate the winding path of change in our lives. Hey, Rat, good to see you again. And this theory, this teaching, this longitudinal study It's by Dr. Susan Noonan. It's Noonan, Noonan. So Dr. Susan. So what Dr. Susan talks about, how to navigate through the winding path of change. She says recently she experienced a fair amount of change in her life. And right now, if we think about it, we're dealing with a lot of change right now as well. But we're going to be all right. We're going to be all right. And I thought that this would be, Dr. Noonan said that she thought it would be a good time to think about change and how change affects us. So Dr. Noonan says that change is a fact of life. Yes, it is. And inherent in the human experiences as our circumstances evolve or start to grow. Sometimes change is experienced as an inconvenience or a hassle. And to us, a lot of times change is an inconvenience. You know, a lot of times we're pushed into moving into a different or a different area of our lives. And at the time, to us, we feel like, oh my God, this is not cool or whatever. But then once we navigate through it, it's like, you know what? I'm so glad that this happened, because I wouldn't be here if this didn't happen. So this is what Dr. Noonan is saying. She said, most of us don't like change, but as mature adults, we learn to accept it and adjust to change. Dr. Noonan says sometimes life throws us a curveball. And I'm going to say a lot of times life throws us a curveball. Okay. If you agree, give me the hand wave. Give me the hand wave. But a lot of times life throws us a curveball and we have to learn how to navigate through it. It can feel disruptive and it also be a challenge. Others of us have a very difficult time when things start to shift around us. And although we may not like it, we have to plow through it and adapt anyway. And those of us who have been through, hi, Miss Baby, those of us that have been through different changes in our lives, again, when you're going through it, because it's unfamiliar territory, when we're going through it, it's like, oh God, why? But once we get through it and we see the end results, we're like, oh, I'm so glad that happened. Because if not, I would still be stuck back over in this area over here. So that's what Dr. Noonan was saying. Number two, the second key point that she's talking about is how change can be minor and achievable. It can be like a small change and it's real easy to achieve. Or it could be a major change in your life and quite impactful. I'm going to pause here for a minute. One of the major changes in my life that happened was when I moved from the only home I knew my entire life, New York City. Moved, my husband and I, we moved our young family and moved all the way to Georgia, down south. He had family. My husband has family down here. I didn't have any family down here. So when we moved and everything, people when they're glad when you come and stuff, but people they have their lives and stuff. So we had to learn how to navigate this new change, this new life for us, this new lifestyle, moving away from everything we knew, our parents, our families, our church family, and we started over fresh. We didn't start, coming from New York, we didn't start like most people start, like older people. They know how to move the right way. They got the budget. They went and purchased a home. They have everything, the set jobs and all. We came down here fresh. We had a place to live, but we had to acquire jobs and all of that. Had a little bit of something to live off, I think, for 1 month or whatever. But faith, we took a faith leap. That was a major change. And we started fresh with everything. Started fresh with church family, jobs, home, new environment, everything. But I'm so glad. I'm so glad that we did, that we left everything we were familiar with, because we wouldn't be who we are today. We wouldn't be mature adults today if we stayed back where we were. Okay, so that's one of the things that Dr. Noonan was talking about. Okay, she said it could be as simple as having to find a new commute to work. That's something new. Or school, a new location, and contact info for an important person that's in your life. Okay. Experiencing the end of a relationship or friendship with partners, friends, families, members, work colleagues, healthcare providers, financial advisors, or teachers. Finding a new health club or a dry cleaner because your dry cleaner just closed. What she's saying is getting used to a new environment. It takes an adjustment. Dr. Noonan says that sometimes a change in our lives. Hey, Netta, okay, I see Tammy. Hi, Tammy. Okay. Sometimes Dr. Noonan says a change in our lives can be uncomfortable. A lot of times, once again, it is uncomfortable. She said anxiety provoking, it can be scary or disruptive to our daily routine, which most of the time change is. Or it can cause distress, and sometimes it can cause psychological pain. It can feel risky and create a sense of uncertainty and anticipatory fear, or the unknown, fear of the unknown and the unfamiliar. By nature, we are creatures of habit. We really are creatures of habit. Hey, Leisha, how? By nature, we are creatures of habit. Okay. And Dr. Noonan is saying that oftentimes we feel most comfortable maintaining that safe and familiar routine and pattern that makes up our lives. She said this is true even when we know deep down that keeping things as they are may be in our best interest, may or may not be. But if we avoid physical exercises, she's given some examples and stuff that can happen. Dr. Noonan is saying that such as when we consciously choose to adjust to our routines, patterns, and thoughts and behaviors, or when we're working toward a desired goal, by modifying things, she says some of these life changes may be unplanned and unexpected, and they also throw us off balance for a little bit. She said, but we can adjust and we can adapt to them. And I know a lot of you all who are viewing right now, you all understand about change. Change is not easy. It is uncomfortable. But in the end, when you start navigating through that change, you start to realize, you know what? This is really the best thing that happened to me by me moving into this direction, looking at things, moving into a different realm in my life, and you realize that you're actually moving forward. You're moving upwards and forward rather than staying stuck, stagnant, or going down. Okay. And so this is what Dr. Noonan is talking about. She said most of us can deal with and manage one thing changing at a time using our resilient skills. But life does not always work out that way. Like I shared with y'all a little bit earlier, how my husband and I we just made the decision to leave everything we knew some years ago. Well, we left New York City. We left our family, our church family, our jobs, our friends, and moved to the South. I had no family down South. My husband did have family down South, but when we moved here, we still had to, we drew closer. We had to draw closer together and learn how to work together because our parents weren't here. Our grandparents weren't here. Our siblings weren't here. It was us. And we had to, like Dr. Noonan said, we had to learn, get new jobs, new residences, new churches. We had to, everything was new. We just put ourselves out there. And I'm going to keep saying, that was the best thing we ever did. So Dr. Noonan was saying that she learned that the cumulative effect of multiple large and small changes can feel overwhelming, which we know that, and has the greatest impact on our sense of stability. Yeah, when you're going through change, you don't feel like you're in a stable. That, you know, it makes you feel unstable, but it all evens out. It all, because it's an unfamiliar setting, an unfamiliar thing that you're experiencing. But once you get to know a little bit more about it, you start to navigate. We're going to use that word again. You start to navigate through this change, and you learn how to move forward with this change. Now, Dr. Noonan says, let's think about the ways most of us react to change in our lives. Okay. She says some may try to deny it. I'm going to say that most people, hey, CJ, most people try to deny stuff, change when it happens. She says some people try to avoid the change. She says some people try to resist the change, and some people try to fight the change. There are make attempts to control the change. But striving to get back to where things were before that distressing event or situation happened. So she's asking the question, how well has this worked for them? And I want y'all to think about, I'm asking y'all, how well has change, you trying to resist change, worked for you? Okay. She said, Dr. Noonan says she guessed that the answer is not very well. She said things may even worsen the person's experience, adding a sense of fear, uncertainty, and increased stress, anxiety, fatigue, or exhaustion, fighting the change that is occurring with you. The most effective way to deal with change, Dr. Noonan says, is by accepting it and trying not to fight it. And then we can find a way to adjust to the change, to adapt to the change, and to move on with this change or through the change. CJ said it's been very difficult for me. Yeah, I understand. I understand. Change, it is very difficult. But one thing I have to say with just observing and watching you, CJ said that's what I need to do. Yes. Sometimes you just have to just go along with it. Think about it like you in water, and you ever seen somebody in a pool or in water and they fighting, and the more they fight, the more they keep going up under. But when they finally just relax and lay back, they just start to float. They start floating. So change is the same way. It's very similar. You just gotta sometimes just lay back, get a feel of what's going on, observe, and just move along with it and adjust with the change. Alicia says you have to pray your way through it. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, ma'am. You have to pray your way through change. To those of us that are Christian believers and those of us that aren't, prayer does change things. Trust me, it does. You have to pray your way through this, and you have to ask for guidance. How, God, how do you think I should navigate through this? And I'm telling you, the answer will come. A lot of times it comes in very unusual ways. The answer comes, but it's just what you need to help you move through whatever you're going through. And so this is what Dr. Noonan was talking about. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. She said, when you do find a way to adjust, you're going to learn how to adjust through the change. You're going to learn how to adapt through this change. You're going to learn how to move on through this change. As humans, again, we do crave stability. And after a new or disruptive experience that may lead us to a new sense of normal, and a new baseline, listen, it's going to normalize at some point. Dr. Noonan says it takes some effort and getting used to. We all respond to change in our own unique way. Like, thank you, CJ, for being so candid. You're saying that, it's been tough for you. But like I said last night, change is tough, but so are we. And even if you have to think about it that way, CJ, change is tough, but so are you. I observe your post. I observe some of the things that you post on social media. You are a fighter, CJ. You're a fighter. When a job has done you wrong, if I remember Amazon or something, it was messing up your packages. You have a fight in you. You found out who to call, who to report it to, and how to rectify the situation. You're a fighter. CJ said, you are a fighter, CJ. And it's not easy, but like I said last night, what was the title? Change is tough, but so are you. We can do this. Hey, AZ, we can do this. So like Dr. Noonan is saying, she's saying that we all respond to change in our own different mannerism, depending on the nature, intensity of the event and our personal skills and resilience. But we're tough and we can make it through it. Now, I'm going to show this because somebody that was on last night, Cole, he had a question about gaslighting. And let me see, is this it? Okay, no, this is not it. I wanted y'all to see this. I'm gonna blow this up and then I'm gonna go back to it. Can y'all see that? Personal growth mindset. Growth is not an option, it is a necessity. Nourish your mind, strengthen your roots, and watch yourself thrive. So, change is a part of personal growth, right? Change is a part of personal growth. There's something else that Dr. Noonan was talking about. She said when we start changing and we start growing, hey, loving all of me, how you doing? Dr. Noonan, she made a little pause in here with her theory. She said a lot of times when we're changing and we're experiencing change and growing, because I'm going to call it growth, personal growth. She said friends and family members who have toxic effects on us, they don't like it. And they try to make things even more uncomfortable. You see that there, friends and family who are close to us, a lot of times they try to make things even more uncomfortable as we are changing and we are growing, right? So this is what I wanted to show this last night to Cole, but I didn't have it prompted up. Look at this. Manipulation is when they blame you for the reaction to their disrespect. Okay? We're going to read that again. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect, aka gaslighting. And look, manipulation, gaslighting is, look, I was just joking with you. Don't be so negative. You are too sensitive. Okay? To answer Cole from last night, that's gaslighting. And let me put this up again one more time, guys, so we can get it. And Alicia said all the time. And CJ says sometimes you gotta cut some family members off. Listen, not sometimes, most of the time. He said, "Oh my God, that's so true." Listen, most of the time, as we're growing and changing, yeah. You have to do a separation. Yes, you do. I'm going to open this up one more time so we can get this in our spirit. Manipulation is when they blame you for your reaction to their disrespect. Okay, this got too many compartments in this right here. Manipulation is when they blame you. So now you're the villain. They're blaming you for you reacting to their disrespect. Okay, aka gaslighting. Let's cut the cord. Let's separate from that. When we're growing and we're changing, we have to keep toxic so-called friends and family, keep them out of our sphere of influence. Keep them out of it. I'm telling you, Alicia said that part. CJ said yes. All right, so I wish Cole was on here tonight. As a matter of fact, give me a minute. Let me put this on here so he can see this. And hopefully he'll get a chance to see this. Yes. That was his this was his answer from last night. That was his answer from last night. Manipulation, gaslighting. All right, so let's move this on. So Dr. Noonan says, how can one not only survive change, but thrive through the change? And remember last night, what did we say? Change is tough, but so are we. All right. So change requires that we confront and accept the change and the new normal it creates and put our efforts towards problem solving, a way to reestablish and achieve a new revised sense of balance and a new normal. Now, the very first week of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, we gave 5 different strategies of how people go through change. And the 5 strategies, I've been saying it for the last 3 weeks about how you have the pre-contemplation, the contemplation stage, then you have the action stage and all of that. But denial is the first thing with that. Now, with that, we moved on to part 2. We talked about DBT, which is dialectical behavioral theory. Okay, and what that is it is a type of therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy. And what all that is that first you're acknowledging, like Dr. Noonan said, you're acknowledging that the change is happening or the change has to happen. And number 2, you're going to commit to changing. So this is what Dr. Noonan is saying. So whenever y'all hear me say DBT, I'm talking about dialectical behavioral therapy, where you're acknowledging that there's a change that's happening, or you're acknowledging that there's a change that needs to happen. And then number two, you're going to commit to working towards that change or working on that change. So Dr. Noonan says that some ways includes modifying our responses to new and evolving life events, like Alicia and CJ said, let's cut it off. Separate yourself. If there's people that are acknowledging, if people are acknowledging that you're changing, and like they're saying, oh, you changing now. Oh, you think you're better than. Listen, it's time to separate. Go on to separate. Dr. Noonan says, persons, places, or circumstances. So making an effort to do something different or do it differently, approaching a problem or a situation from a different angle, revising our thought patterns, viewpoints, and our opinions, or looking at ourselves from another perspective. All of these things are part of change. All right. In other words, she's saying try to accept and engage with the change that's happening with you. Actively participate in the process and assume a new baseline, a new way of doing things, and perhaps some new sense of ourselves. We must have the courage to move forward and to come to the terms with the old ways and leave those old ways behind. Here we go again. I'm going to say it again. DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. Gaga, aka Miss Anita, says prayer strengthens you when you make a change. Yes, it does. Alicia, Gaga, Miss Anita over in our Facebook family said the same thing you said. Prayer strengthens you, gives you strength when you're going through that change. Alicia said earlier that prayer helps you navigate through that change. Y'all both are on the same page. She's in Instagram land and you in Facebook land, but y'all are saying the same thing. And I wholeheartedly agree. It's okay. So Dr. Noonan says, in other words, try to accept and engage with that change. All right, actively participate again in it and assume your new baseline. She said, and it's most helpful if we can identify and focus on those things that we can control. Okay? She said, I'm going to say it again. Dr. Noonan says, it helps when you can identify and focus on the things that you can control. She said, let go of whatever you can't control, let go of that. Now, I'm going to go right back to what AKA Miss Anita, Gaga, and what Alicia said. They both said prayer changes things. Prayer strengthens you when it's something that's out of your control and it's a part of your change. If you pray or if you talk to God or if you meditate, it helps. It really does. I strongly believe in both prayer and meditation. I really do. Okay. So Dr. Noonan says to let go of whatever you can't control. Understand that adapting to change is an ongoing process. Adapting to change also means you're being flexible and you're able to respond to altered situations and conditions as they emerge. So she's saying that it's like, hold on, let me move my paper along. She said it's like wavering palm trees. How many y'all know what a palm tree does in the wind? And it looks so beautiful in the wind when the palm trees when the wind is blowing and it's swaying, and it's almost hypnotizing when you're watching the palm trees, and it's so calming and relaxing. Like, I love the palm tree plants. I live in the South, so those are very popular here in the South during spring, summer, and fall. And when the winds are blowing and to see them wave, how they waving, you could just sit there out on your porch and watch it, and it's just so relaxing. This is what Dr. Noonan is talking about. She said change can be like a wavering palm tree in a tropical storm. It's able to bend and sway without breaking. And when it returns back to the calm, how the palm tree is not broken, it goes right back to being in its natural state. And she said, perhaps with one or two lost branches, but that is it. Everything else is still in control. Alicia said in California, she's surrounded. Oh, yeah, she's in California. She's surrounded by palm trees. They are beautiful out there. And I love going to California. And they're big, the big, beautiful palm trees. They are beautiful. So I know you know what I'm talking about, Alicia. Mm-hmm. But this is what Dr. Noonan is talking about, how we have to be like a palm tree. When change is happening, especially uncomfortable, we feel like we're uncomfortable in a new change. She said we have to be like that palm tree. And if we may feel like we're in a tumultuous type of storm, again, I'm going to go back to last night's topic. Change is tough, but so are we. So are you. Hey, love chat. Change is tough, but yes, so are we. We can be like that palm tree. Listen, I'm a realist. If you got to cry, cry. Go on and cry. Get it out. We're human. Go on and cry. Get it out so you can feel better. Because when things are happening out of our control, it's nerve-wracking, but you're tough. Change is tough, but so are we. You're going to get through it. I commend CJ. CJ, he was open and he was honest. He said that it's been tough for him going through these changes. But again, you're tough too, CJ. You're tough and you're resilient. All right. So again, like Dr. Noonan says, we have to be like that palm tree. And guess what? You find out how strong you are when these changes start happening in your lives. You find out that you're a lot tougher than what you know or what you thought you were. Okay. And it teaches you, how to be resilient when stuff happens that's out of our control. It teaches us how not only resilient, but how smart we are, because you're learning as you go. And so that's teaching you. CJ said, oh, you're so sweet, CJ. But it teaches you. Remember, change is also a teaching. It's a teaching a moment as well. So Dr. Noonan says, lastly, change requires that we learn to tolerate uncertainty and unknowns. Okay. She said, lastly, change requires that we learn, we're learning to tolerate uncertainties and unknowns. She said, it teaches us to manage any fears that are associated with them and be open and adept at adjusting our expectations and ways of thinking, ways of doing things, and how we've been doing things. Okay. So she said, the good news is that adapting to change and being flexible enables us to evolve and to grow. That's not all bad. And so she ended it by saying good luck. But I'm going to end this by saying we're tough. Change is tough, but so are you. And as Christians, this is a scripture that I stand on. I can do all things through Christ. I can do all things. You can do anything through Christ who strengthens you. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's uncomfortable, but you can do it. You can do all things. Change. We are all, the United States, we are experiencing a change right now. But like Miss Anita, aka Gaga, and like Alicia said, prayer, meditation, prayer, meditate and pray, pray and meditate, because we're gonna get through this. We're gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right. Okay, so this theory tonight, this longitudinal study was by Dr. Susan Newman, and she's a physician. Okay, she's a physician and an author of Managing Your Depression. But she is a theorist, okay, a long-term theorist. I don't have how long she's been practicing, but I know she's been a long-term theorist. And this theory again is by Dr. Susan J. Noonan. All right, so let me move this on. Our takeaway for tonight. Let me open it, and then okay. So y'all can see it. Our takeaway for tonight. Here we go. Excuse me. I still have my notes from the first week. if I needed to jump in there and say it. All right. Our takeaway. Where is our takeaway? Ooh. I guess I'm gonna have to read it because it didn't print out. I'm sorry, guys. Let me open it up. Our takeaway for tonight is the most effective way to deal with change is by accepting it and trying not to fight it. That's our takeaway for tonight. All right, let me move on to the quote for tonight. Oops, excuse me. Let's move on to our quote for tonight. Let me open it up because it didn't print out. Some changes look negative on the surface, but you will soon realize that space is being created in your life for something new to emerge. And that's by Eckhart Tolle. All right. And I probably said the name wrong, but y'all saw it for your own self. All right. So let's move this on. I'm going to do my quick service announcements, and then I will see y'all next Tuesday for our final week, for our fourth and final week, next Tuesday and next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're still on the same topic, change, but a different subtopic for next week. All right, so this is for my fellow theorists. This is where I got my references from. All right, I always show that for my fellow counselors and theorists. All right, so better up. Create a personal professional transformation through expert life coaching. If you're looking for a life coach, www.betterup.com. All right. Next is ADA Plus Community, empowering adults with ADD, ADHD, and OCD to live their best lives. A different brain requires a different approach. www.adapluscommunity.com. All right. Next is BetterHelp. So if you want a safe space to speak with a licensed professional online, BetterHelp offers affordable counseling sessions for individuals, couples, and their families at www.betterhelp.com. All right. 988 Crisis Helpline, where help is available. So you can connect with people that you can trust if you're struggling or if you know someone that's struggling. It's okay to share feelings. The 988 Lifeline provides 24/7 free and confidential support for people who are in distress, prevention and crisis resources for you or your loved ones, and best practices for professionals in the United States. 988 Crisis Helpline. All right. The next one is Learning RX. Learning RX has been around for about almost 50 years. So if you want to become a better learner and a better thinker, you might want to consider adult tutoring. Learning RX have a proven record where the average graduate from their program, their IQ has increased at least 13 points during their training period. They've made significant gains in skills like their working memories, their long-term memories, and their attention. All right. So that's www.learningrx.com/adult brain training or adult tutoring. All right. If there is a past Counsel of the Day with Shanrae, that series that you've missed or you just want to rewatch, you can go to my YouTube channel at Shanrae Price. You can subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications, and then select any past series of go to my Counsel of the Day and select any past series. All right. And this is the last one. I'm a professional one-on-one counselor. I'm a degree counselor. So if you're interested in professional counseling services, feel free to contact me via my Facebook Messenger at Shanrae Owens, or via my email. You can email me at shanrae.price@gmail.com. I'm a lifestyle strategist, and my aim is to aid you in your life goals and your life dreams. All right, guys. Thank you. CJ said, my God, I received that. Yes. Alicia said she receives that. Thank you all. Thank you, Gaga, for logging on. Thank you, everybody, my Instagram family, Facebook family, my YouTube family. Thank you all. I will see y'all next week, Tuesday and Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for my final week for this quarter of Counsel of the Day with Shanrae. Same topic, different subtopic. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Those that are in a colder environment, stay warm. Those that are in a warmer environment, stay dry. All right. See y'all next Tuesday. Have a good evening. Good night.